business. As a Black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your shadow with me? Time to get it. Hey,
21, oh, life has just begun. Got a temper like a gun, pointing it at everyone. That's his game, and it helps him to get through the day. But a voice inside him says, how much longer can I play? He's got infinite possibilities, I can see them now. It's the unbroken chains of his past by which he's bound.
It's time to set our intentions, set our self-care, and find our focus. This is Mindful Mondays with Saharah Ali on KBLA Talk 1580.
And it is such a blessing to start our week every week with a sound bath specialist. She's a sound healer, a numerologist, astrologer, life coach, yoga and meditation instructor, and a KBLA contributor. It is time for Mindful Mondays. Good morning, Saharah Ali.
Good morning, Dominique, and good morning, KBLA family. Welcome to Mindful Mondays, where we get our minds right for the week by setting positive intentions to honor our mind and body through meditation, prayer, and affirmation as we step unapologetically into our week, being on purpose with power, wisdom, truth, and faith. And this week, not blacking down. The celestial influence this week is a new moon and our last solar eclipse for 2024 in Libra, 11:49 tomorrow, Tuesday, opening the space to revamp how we do all relationships. The new Libra moon is conjunct Mercury, aiding us to speak with truth and blessing everyone to level up in all partnerships, opening the space for clarity and deep conversation, yielding wisdom, giving structure to our creative vision infused with positive energy, strengthening our spirits to overcome emotional deficiencies and stagnation. The action plan is to remember our purpose, awakening inner strength, inviting our souls to navigate unapologetically, reframing limitations, and turning darkness into light. The task is diplomacy, setting firm boundaries, building a new foundation, manifesting strength and structure for future collaborations, unfolding dream partnerships with grace and ease. As we elevate forward and living and building communities of collective consciousness, this is a huge awakening. It's a call to live our best life. And our call to action today is to take a journey into the world behind our eyes, opening to our soul's wisdom, unapologetically embracing our innate truth. So going forward, let's lean into our Mindful Monday meditation. Take a breath, anchoring your feet to the earth, connecting to here and now, and allowing yourself to root and align to the purpose of your soul's task. Breathe. Take a breath and be here and now in this moment, opening your heart and your mind. Exhale, relax, and let go. And now inhale, calling on the power of divine wholeness, opening to wisdom, opening to guidance. And exhale, mindfully connect in this present time to your breath, to everything around you. And listen as you inhale and as you exhale, listen to your breath. Listen to your body. Allow yourself to relax and to let go. Allow yourself to open to divine guidance. Inhale with an open mind and an open heart. And exhale, listen for wisdom. Be on purpose in this moment. Feel your heartbeat. Be mindful of your thoughts. Connect to your breath. Give yourself permission to lean into your divine self and listen with love for clarity with each breath in each moment. Relax. Take a big breath. Breathe in love from the Most High. Feel that love all around you. Exhale, calling on your angels and ancestors as you surrender what's no longer serving you. Give it up. Allow yourself to let it go. And now inhale, ready to embrace divine transformation, leveling up in all partnerships. Your partnership with the Most High, your partnership with your friends, your partnership with yourself, your partnership with your mate. Exhale and release. Release, just breathe, and visualize your happiness. Visualize your abundance. Visualize that place of peace within you. Take a breath. And as you exhale, listen with an open heart, feeling the power of love, feeling the power of clarity, and allowing yourself to trust and know that it's time for balance. Relax and release. And now inhale and be here now. Be here in present time. And as you exhale, be bold and ready to live your best life, to know what your truth is, to know what your boundaries are. And now inhale, promising yourself to be unapologetic, standing on purpose, in your power, believing all things are possible. Now just breathe and relax, quieting your mind to receive our Mindful Monday affirmation. And remember holding the space of balance and leveling up. Our Mindful Monday affirmation, take a breath and relax. And as you exhale, just lean and listen. Today with grace, I embrace divine guidance, unfolding with ease here and now, my best life. Today with grace, I embrace divine guidance, unfolding with ease here and now, my best life. Breathe and relax, bringing your awareness back to present time, giving yourself permission to embrace divine guidance unfolding with ease for your best life. This is the time to level up. This is the time to open yourself to divine guidance and build community, build a collective consciousness, but own your power to be co-creator of your reality. Remember to embrace divine guidance, unfolding with ease, opening this space for you to level up, to live your best life. Thank you, Dominique, Tavis Smiley, Miles, and the 1580 KBLA family.
Thank you, Saharah. Before you dip, I just want to ask you one thing. As we look at these storms, this Hurricane Helene especially is what I'm thinking about, and what they're calling biblical devastation in North Carolina. And, you know, this is what we will probably be looking at more of under the climate emergency. Watching the small town of Asheville, we interviewed someone from there about 2 weeks ago. It's basically destroyed. And there's other stressors. I mean, there's war breaking out around the world. We're in the middle of an election. So I guess the question is, when you're praying, when you're meditating, when you're setting your focus, when I'm setting my focus and my intention, what is the best way to process this devastation? Obviously, you don't want to be in denial, but I don't want to get bogged down by feeling so sad and so worried.
One thing to understand is, you know, the Creator has a master plan. And we have lived through many devastating things. And the devastation whether we frame it that way or whether we allow ourselves to embrace it, it's all about purification. It's all about shifting consciousness. It's about shifting the dynamics of how we embrace each other. And it seems as though we only come together as a collective when we have a disaster, when there's something that is off balance or something that's very devastating. We cease to see color. We come together as a community. We come together as a collective consciousness. And this is where the energy of the Most High and all the celestial influences, we are stepping in a time of collective awareness and understanding no man is an island, that we need each other. And it's most unfortunate that Mother Nature has to rear its head so that we can reframe how we are living our lives and how we are appreciating our lives and how we have gratitude for our neighbor and how we become a community. And out of these things, you always see people helping other people, people opening the space for other people. And it's so sad that we have to have a disaster for us to open our hearts to embrace each other and to look at what happens after the disaster. Do we keep that community? Do we keep that collective consciousness? And, there is an energetic upheaval asking all of us to reframe the values we live by, and to also understand if we are not a community, then what are we? Because we need each other.
Yeah, it's well said. Someone, I was having a conversation over the weekend, and someone was saying, well, I got it, my guns and ammunition ready because it looks like we're going to have another earthquake. And I want to, be ready when they start ransacking the city. And my response to that is exactly what you said. I've been in a lot of earthquakes, Northridge and the San Francisco Bay Bridge one and other disasters. What I notice is we do come together. It's when things are not in a disaster that we, don't show love. So hopefully that can be one prevailing thought to meditate on, focus on, or lean into in your own actions, our own actions, as a way of moving through all of the various stressors that we're faced with right at this moment in time.
Well said, and thank you. But it's real important for us to understand the power of our emotions, the power of our thoughts, because each what we call a disaster, each act of nature is tied into our consciousness and our emotional behavior and our emotional beliefs. Where there's a lot of anger, we get a lot of tornadoes. Where there's a lot of frustration, we get a lot of earthquakes. And so prayer helps to bring that peace. Prayer opens the space for all of us to reframe the illusions that we buy into. It's time to anchor ourselves in a deeper wisdom. When we have a disaster, who's talking about, their fancy shoes, their fancy car, and everything else fancy? Yes, they're trying to protect it, but life is the key. How are we living our lives, and how are we allowing our lives to unfold on a higher level? The material things we can't take with us. And yeah, you can get a gun and you can do all of that, but that's not going to save you if your house open up and you fall into the ground with your guns. Who are you willing to be when there is no disaster? Can you be as loving? Can you be as positive? Can you step forward in this collective awareness that is very much needed for all of us to level up? Our Mother Nature will do its job, and we will continue to be forced to get prayed up. Because people pray, oh, God, help me, oh, save me. And so, hey, that is a prayer. And how come we can't pray that before we have a disaster?
Well, let's get to praying, L.A., Southern California, because a lot of shaking going on lately.
Yeah. Thank you.
And if you want to get a consultation from Saharah Ali, get some sound healing, maybe a sound bath for your party or office, or even a reading, you can go to saharahali.com, SAHARAH, Ali.com. You can also call her assistant. Her assistant's name is Elise, and her number is 213-628-9783, 213-628-9783. Great time to call me, 800-920-1580. Tim Walz will be debating J.D. Vance tomorrow. There is so much going on across the globe and across this nation that we can unpack right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Tavis Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
We're thrilled to announce that the Dear Future Wifey podcast is now available on the Urban One Podcast Network. This show, hosted by Latiris R. Whitfield, explores the journey of discovering and rediscovering love and relationships. With over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, Dear Future Wifey has become a prototype for discussions about love and relationships. Learn how to rediscover love, heal, and have faith in relationships. Go to urbanonepodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity, because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Conversation absolutely continues, and you're welcome into it at 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. So right now, the vice presidential debate is kind of like the last big moment that we have on the calendar at this point before the election. Maybe another Harris-Trump debate happens. I don't see it. I see that the Harris campaign is trying to troll Trump and poke the bear and see if they can shame him or anger him into doing a debate. I doubt it, but they're trying. They've got an ad out that seems aimed at that. But right now, we've got this debate tomorrow, which, of course, we have a watch party at KBLA, and then we'll have reaction. We'll have a panel discussion afterwards led by myself and Tavis Smiley. But this is turning up to be a big deal. There is a new poll from a group called Prolific that was done for The Independent in the UK, and it shows that 75% of Americans plan to watch the debate tomorrow. 3/4 of this nation saying they're going to tune in to watch J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. And I've told you I've been concerned about it because Walz has said that he's not the best debater. J.D. Vance is a Stanford-trained lawyer, which means he should be a good debater. I mean, to be honest with you, his interviews so far haven't made it look like that, but I'm assuming he is. The other thing that worries me is Vance is saying he doesn't need to do much prep. So he's trying to make it seem like, whatever I do was easy peasy. He's doing the debate version of I woke up like this, right? I don't have to do anything to defeat him. Meanwhile, what we're reading is that he's actually sequestered and preparing for this debate around the clock. So, obviously he's been out on the campaign trail, but whenever he's not out campaigning, he's supposedly prepping. So why would he try to play that down? Is he lowering expectations? I don't think so. I think he's trying to say if he can beat Walz, that he can say, he didn't even do any prep. He made it look easy. He said he doesn't have to prepare that much. The New York Times says he's spending all of this week and some of last at least preparing. And, obviously it's not the big ticket event that the Harris-Trump matchup was. But apparently this poll also says that 30% of viewers had a more positive opinion of Kamala Harris following her debate with Trump. And Walz is even much more unknown than Kamala Harris, who, after all, has been the vice president for the past 3+ years. 21% of independent voters were part of that polling, with showing a 30% increase in the favorability for Harris after watching one debate. Interestingly enough, for Trump, most of the people who watched that debate said their opinion stayed the same or got worse. 14% said it got worse. Most people said it stayed the same. And I think because people feel like they already know Trump, and because Harris would be the first woman president, this vice presidential debate has taken on new importance. First of all, Trump is chronologically gifted, as Tavis would say. He's old. He's 78. So it is very important to know who his vice presidential running mate is. May he live long. May he live to be 108. But it's not guaranteed at 78. Their insurance companies will tell you there's a risk factor. So that means J.D. Vance could be the president. So folks need to peep out who this guy is, and I think that's one of the reasons why this debate is taking on added importance, more than we usually see for a VP debate. And then I think there's a double thing happening with Harris. Number one, people think that the misogyny in people, the sexism in people, whether it's overt or subconscious, believes that this man is going to be the adult in the room. So they need to see who, her counterpart is, who the male that they think is going to get her in check is. That's, never spoken, but I believe that is part of it. And then the other part of it is that, she is a black woman. We know that despite Trump saying that Iran is trying to kill him, and there's a lot of other attempts that we don't see, which I believe, he is a very high profile person and not one of the more popular presidents we've had, that there are always threats. Obama had more death threats than any other president. So in both of these cases, there's ominous reasons to pay more attention to who the vice president is. And both of these guys are relatively new. J.D. Vance has been a senator for less than a year, I believe. I don't know, not long. And Walz is well known if you're in Minnesota, but nationally not so much. He was governor of Minnesota and a congressperson from there. 56% of Americans say the VP candidate has a significant impact on the overall ticket. 2/3 of Democrats do. And it's also fascinating because the conventional wisdom is people vote for the top of the ticket. They don't vote for the vice president. But I think this year they're paying more attention to the number 2. And certainly we will be paying attention to it as we have our debate watch party and then a panel discussion afterwards. And look, I'm one who says people should be able to change their viewpoint when they get more information. That's not always categorically flip-flopping. It could be evolution, but it's interesting that J.D. Vance went from not that long ago saying Trump failed the American people on immigration and failed and was, worse than Hitler, or was America's Hitler, I think is the quote, to being the biggest butt kisser in the history of butt kissers. And I wonder how the flip-flop thing is going to come up or not come up at the debate. CNN had a super fascinating article about how when J.D. Vance was a law student at Yale in 2012, he wrote a critique of the Republican Party's stance on immigrants and minorities, saying they're openly hostile to non-whites and that they're wrong for alienating Black, Latinos, and youth. And this was published. This was published at a student publication when he was at Stanford Law. And Vance went back after he got into politics and asked his old professor to delete that article. This professor, Brad Nelson, had asked him to write this for a blog for the Center for World Conflict and Peace. Now, Mr. Nelson deleted that article to protect Vance's ever-changing political persona. It's the perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580, news, traffic, and sports, and more. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is still insisting he will not resign as he battles federal corruption charges. The African-American mayor over the weekend told parishioners at Emmanuel Presbyterian Reformed Church he has no intention of stepping down. Toyota is recalling 50,000 vehicles over a possible safety issue in some newer models. The recall was announced by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration Friday, and it's only for 2023 and 2024 Corolla Cross hybrid vehicles. 2 astronauts stranded on the International Space Station can finally save their rides here. A NASA astronaut and his Russian cosmonaut colleague are now aboard the International Space Station after a successful SpaceX launch from Cape Canaveral on Saturday. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A rough day for both of LA's NFL teams. The Chargers lost at home to Kansas City 17-10. The Chargers, now 2-2, did not score after the first quarter. They're at Denver next Sunday. In Chicago, the Rams are 1-3 after losing to the Bears 24-18. Most of the Rams' offense came on 4 field goals. The Rams are home next Sunday against Green Bay. Magic Johnson's NFL team, the Washington Commanders, are balling. The Commanders are 3-1 and lead the NFC East after a 42-14 win at Arizona. Commanders rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, who grew up in San Bernardino, was 26 of 30 with 2 touchdowns. In 4 games, Daniels has completed 82.1% of his passes. No NFL quarterback has a higher percentage in their first 4 games in NFL history. Today is media day for the Lakers and Clippers. First full day of training camp for both teams is Tuesday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, where climate is king. Climate is king. Climate is king.
October 2nd is California Clean Air Day. Go Metro for free and help cut down on pollution and traffic. It's our way of thanking you because every ride makes a difference. Let's clear the air together. Ready to go right now? Head to metro.net.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downy are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/DC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
Congratulations to my friend Felicia the Poetess Morris. She celebrated her 10-year anniversary, 10 years of podcasts right here on Crenshaw, our neighbor across the street. If you need a podcast, go to morrismediastudios.com. She had a really nice party. And thank you for inviting me, Poetess. And I love her program book so much. Who has DJ Pooh as one of their congratulators on their 10-year anniversary? Gotta be the Poetess. It's dope. Says, congratulations to our homegirl on her 10 years in the business, King T and DJ Pooh. That's what I'm talking about. So congratulations. You know how hard it is to keep a business going for 10 minutes, let alone 10 years. So all good, and congrats to her. Got to get her in here soon. Absolutely. So, man, where to start? Okay, let's just go through some of these. The former president of the United States called Kamala Harris mentally impaired on Saturday as he steps up his attacks. Starting to feel more and more desperate in his tone and tenor. He calls her a mentally disabled person. Of course, the mentally disabled community took umbrage at that, said it was tacky and problematic for people who are facing mental impairment challenges. Maria Town, the president of the American Association of people with disabilities said that Trump's comments say far more about him and his inaccurate, hateful biases against disabled people than it does about Vice President Harris or any person with a disability. Trump holds the ableist false belief that if a person has a disability, they are less human and less worthy of dignity. Couldn't have said it better. That's why I decided to read the quote. The devastation in much of much of North Carolina right now is just so terrible. And at least 102 people now dead across 6 states there. Probably that death toll is going to go up because people are found under rubble and stuff. People who are trapped in a certain location or whatever. Apparently there's a possibility of a new storm in the Western Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico that could be developing later this week. We won't know for sure until then. Biden is going to go to some of the affected areas this week. He says he's waiting until he can be sure that it won't disrupt emergency response operations. And, of course, the White House expressing condolences. So now, of course, Hurricane Helene is going to be known as one of the most deadly hurricanes ever to strike the U.S. in the past 50 years. Of course, Hurricane Katrina was the worst of the worst, with 1,833 people dying, and then Ian. But the second on the list had 150 fatalities. So you can see that, the scope of Katrina still just goes beyond anything we've seen. And I think what Saharah Ali said is so true. I really hope we step up and act as a collective to help these folks in need. The Lebanese government says 1 million people have already been displaced in that nation by Israeli attacks. The Prime Minister said that. And apparently there's no end in sight. It's true, world leaders keep talking ceasefire, 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 and they keep warning of a broader war. And I don't claim to be a general, but the war looks pretty doggone broad to me right now. Israel is making incursions in the West Bank and bombing the West Bank. They are bombing Gaza. They are bombing Lebanon. 3 separate sovereign groups. Palestinians, Hamas technically is over Gaza. They haven't had elections in a long time. Palestinian Authority is over the West Bank, and Lebanon has their own government. So that's 3 different entities that Israel is currently at war with. They say they're trying to get rid of the Hezbollah infrastructure, Hezbollah threat. It's the same thing they've said in Gaza. We're trying to get rid of Hamas. But apparently the world has decided we're just going to stand by and watch as they do bombings that end up killing tons of civilians. Israel has also been strategically taking out their Hezbollah leadership, which means the Lebanese fighters are regrouping. They say they've killed more than 20 members of Hezbollah. And I don't have the numbers, more than 1,000 in the past 2 weeks. I don't have the exact numbers on that. But 1 million displaced. At what point do we, the United States, say we're not giving you any more weapons until you try diplomatic solutions? Until you try solutions that do not involve the killing of civilians, mass civilian killings. This guy, Hassan Nasrallah, was a military leader for, apparently military and political leadership for Hezbollah, which is the Lebanese group, militant group. He was killed, assassinated by Israel on Saturday in an airstrike in Beirut. And now we're learning that Israeli military ground forces are doing what they call exploratory missions that are meant to prepare for a bigger ground incursion. I mean, I know anything can always get worse, but to me, it's a pretty wide war going on there already. And I don't know how much more we're going to let it spread before we step in and do something that's a bit more effective. Like we're going to hold your money, or we're going to hold your weapons. If you keep telling your kid, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, and they keep doing it and there are no consequences, why would they stop? Not that Israel is our kid, but in a way they are, because we are supporting their weapons habit. We are supporting their weaponry to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. Looking in the chat, Gregory Calloway says Vance is a DEI lawyer. Okay. He's definitely a lawyer, and he is definitely in line to be the president of the United States should Trump win. Molly Bell says, I won't worry my pretty little head. Walz is good. Kamala chose him over so many others. Regular homegrown TV watchers going to listen and watch the debate. She says Walz has a good heart. I personally think Walz was a great pick. But as I said, I've never seen him debate. And he says out of his mouth that he's not good at debating. So that's what made me start to worry. Because if you feel like you have to confess that to the Harris camp ahead of a debate, that means you know that it's a real weak spot for you. And so that's the reason why. If you're worried about it, I'm worried about it. A town in Mississippi looking to move forward with what they call police reform. What we're looking for is reimagining of police, and why an FBI investigation may lead to a consent decree, kind of like we had here in LA. It didn't fix everything, but it helped. That and more when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit ca-smp-volunteer.org.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
After you use Bounce Dryer sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll put a sheet on your every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon. Or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, Bounce Dryer sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry, put a sheet on it with Bounce.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Man, so much to cover, so little time. Would love to talk with you, though. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. Party called the Freedom Party in Austria seems to have won in that country's parliamentary election, the first time a far right-wing party has done so since World War II. I bring it up because, not that I'm tracking Austrian politics so closely, but it is yet another instance of the spreading of this fascist super conservative. In our country, it's neo-Confederate, but throughout Europe, this neo-fascist wave. And I think that is just, hopefully that's more inspiration for why we got to do what we got to do to make sure that that Trump doesn't win in 2024. Chris Christopherson, the Grammy Award winner who was in the Blade trilogy and Planet of the Apes, has made his transition at the age of 88. And one of my favorite actors passed away last week on Friday. Maggie Smith, the Downton Abbey actor who was also in the Harry Potter movies. She has two Oscars and 4 Emmys, and just is hilarious to me. Maggie Smith, rest in peace. It is that time of year, I think, the final quarter of the year, well, that starts tomorrow, is when we typically see a lot of folks making their transition, leaving the building. I think there's yet another lawsuit now against Diddy, and the lady who brought that lawsuit is saying that her lawyer, I should say, is saying that there are photos in the collection, lewd photos containing people who are more famous than Diddy, surprising no one. So I expect more and more to come out of this. I'm not obsessed with it like so many folks on social media who don't seem to be able to look away from that low-speed train wreck, but I am tracking it just because it's there's so many pieces to that puzzle, right? And so much stuff that's going to come out that we haven't even thought about yet. So Lexington, Mississippi, it's just 1,500 people in that town, and they have come off of a pretty thorough or massive, I'd say, for such a tiny town investigation by the Department of Justice. They started their investigation into that town's police department last year, and they spent a year on it because so many people in the town were hesitant to talk. And now if you think about it, if you live in a town of 1,500, everybody knows what everybody's doing. Everybody knows who everybody's talking to. Apparently, the Justice Department found that this small town, and I'm sure this is not unique. I know it's not unique because it's echoing what we saw in Ferguson and what we have seen in other cases, other small southern areas in particular, where policing has become a means not just of harassing the poor, but of taking a low income and working class people's money through seizures and using it to keep these police departments afloat. They found that that the police department in Lexington arrests, jails, and detains people who cannot pay fines or fees without assessing their ability to pay, uses excessive force, subjects residents to stops, searches, and arrests without probable cause, and fails to provide arrestees with prompt access to court, retaliates against free speech, sexually harasses women, and discriminates against black people. And again, what does that reform look like? Oh, I guess I'm wrong. It's 1,200 people in the town, not 1,500. That this is going on all throughout the South, and even places that aren't the South, where their police departments are overcharging and fining and seizing assets from poor people, low-income people, working class people, because they can, and that's how they keep their coffers full on their budgets for policing. This has prompted people like the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party to get involved in trying to aid the feds in this investigation. Trying to convince people to testify, people who are too afraid to even meet in public. But last week they announced the results of their investigation, and after much accommodating of people who really were so intimidated by their own local police department that they weren't even willing to talk to FBI investigators, that they were able to finally get enough data to release this report. And apparently they're saying it's not just the police, and that sounds awfully familiar even in big cities like where I stay, Los Angeles. They say the dysfunction in the local courts and biased judges. Written complaints going unanswered. And again, this article in the Washington Post makes the point I was going to make anyway, which is that what happens now that Lexington has done their due diligence? What happens now that they have this data from the Justice Department absolutely depends on the result of the election in November. Just as the investigations and convictions against Donald Trump will disappear in a puff of smoke, should he be reelected, right? He'll order the Justice Department to stop investigating him and will shut down any further investigations and prosecutions. Plus, he'll use his newly gained so-called immunity, partial immunity, to dodge accountability. Well, look, same thing in Lexington, Mississippi. Trump gets in office, he shuts down whatever remaining parts of this investigation are left to happen, and absolutely does not impose a consent decree to create outside oversight so that these small, crooked police departments can be reeled in. It's another reminder why, even though every day is down ballot day on KBLA Talk 1580, where we need to talk about what is not at the top of the ticket, that is also important. We also need to stay on top of the top of the ticket, because this is one small example of the kind of thing all of these. The Trump administration said last time that they don't believe in consent decrees, meaning any kind of federal oversight of police departments to stop them from discriminating, killing folks, harassing people, as they have found the department doing in Lexington, Mississippi. Well, all that goes away should Trump be reelected. And I don't know if you've seen this movie Rebel Ridge on Netflix, where they're basically talking about, I mean, of course it's an action movie or whatever, but really what they're talking about is these seizures where police departments can pull a guy over, a man or a woman over, and if they have cash in their car, they can seize it and use it for their own purposes. They can, if the people don't file for it soon enough, they can say they've abandoned it, and they can stop them from filing for it by jailing them. They make it very difficult, even if that money is not drug money, which is what those kinds of laws were made for. Many times it's not. It could be cannabis money, since banks won't do cannabis. It could be cash that you needed, that you got to pay a bill or buy a business. And this is something that is going on nationwide and needs to be reformed. But I promise you, under a Trump-Vance administration, that will not be happening. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. All the pieces of the puzzle are connected, and it's up to us to connect the dots. And so let's do it, and let's spread the word. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
LA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is still insisting he will not resign as he battles federal corruption charges. The African-American mayor over the weekend told parishioners at Emmanuel Presbyterian Reformed Church he has no intention of stepping down. Toyota is recalling 50,000 vehicles over a possible safety issue in some newer models. The recall was announced by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration Friday and is only for 2023 and 2024 Corolla Cross hybrid vehicles. 2 astronauts stranded on the International Space Station can finally save their rides here. A NASA astronaut and his Russian cosmonaut colleague are now aboard the International Space Station after a successful SpaceX launch from Cape Canaveral on Saturday. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A rough day for both of LA's NFL teams. The Chargers lost at home to Kansas City 17-10. The Chargers, now 2-2, did not score after the first quarter. They're at Denver next Sunday. In Chicago, the Rams are 1-3 after losing to the Bears 24-18. Most of the Rams' offense came on 4 field goals. The Rams are home next Sunday against Green Bay. Mills, who grew up in San Bernardino, was 26 of 30 with 2 touchdowns. In 4 games, Daniels has completed 82